On today's episode of the podcast, we've asked our guest director Dan Gildark to share the 5 films from '93 that he thinks are worth a 2020 nomination this year for Best Directing. Dan is the director of the horror movie Cthulhu, and he's currently in development on his next feature film, Second Skin. All right, so Dan, what's your first choice?
Oh, my first choice for Best Directing in 1993 would be The Piano, Jane Campion.
So it's a story of a mute woman along with her young daughter and her prized piano that are sent to 1850s New Zealand for an arranged marriage to a wealthy landowner, and she's soon lusted after by a local worker on the plantation. So what is it about this movie, Dan, that is worthy of your nomination?
It felt really fresh. I just remember I saw it in the theater when it came out and just thinking how fresh and original the voice was. I mean, not only was the director from New Zealand, but she also was a woman, as a woman's voice, which is, pretty rare, especially at this time period for directing, and it felt new. And she had excellent performances out of her actors and really used the camera well, and it was, I thought, a very intriguing story and just overall a solid film.
Yeah. So when you say she used the camera well, what are you referring to when you're...
Again, I think it just leans more towards my choice of really setting the camera back and not doing the traditional coverage and just letting the landscape be part of the story that they're telling and letting the actors interact within that landscape.
Well, I think you're a bigger fan of this movie than I
I watched it a few months ago for the podcast. Mm-hmm. I was not looking forward to it. I just thought it looked so boring, and I really liked it.
Yeah, you hadn't seen it before, right?
I've never seen it before. I never had any desire to see it.
I haven't seen it since it came out. I just remember it being very quiet, it's
a beautiful movie.
Very quiet. Well, obviously she's mute, so.
Right. Well, I mean, it's just beautiful. I'm surprised Kris doesn't love it because she doesn't say
it's like every man's
word.
fantasy, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. That's right. That's sexist.
Just a little bit.
I'm sorry. Can you cut that out?
No,
I don't want everybody to know how sexist I am.
That's in the
gold.
trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really lush film. That was I think the one thing for me that I really liked about it is that it's one of those movies that you can kind of reach out and almost just kind of step into that world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she got
very
great
visceral
performances out of everybody, and I just you really could see how everybody was feeling about everything. Like, the little girl waiting outside while her mother was in with Harvey Keitel's character.
Like she was feeling bad.
Yeah, you can tell.
Like, oh my God, my mom's got to hang out with Harvey Keitel.
No. Yes.
Was Harvey Keitel actually a Maori, supposed to be a Maori guy? Or
I think he was like
someone who'd been assimilated
into...
into...
assimilated
the
into...
Brooklynites that assimilated.
Like in Dances with Wolves.
Okay.
And Last of the Mohicans. I didn't see that, but I think
he went native.
He went native.
Native. Okay.
Yeah.
He was shunning society. That's how you can tell.
All the tats.
That's how you can tell. Facial tattoos and living in the middle of nowhere.
So when you're compiling this list, I mean, what kind of stuff are you looking for as in a director?
Definitely looking at the film holistically. How the director worked with his actors, cinematography, and how he worked with the cinematographer. He or she worked with the cinematographer, and just the overall film, like what they accomplished. With the setting and the storytelling and the feeling that it left you with. And it's what's great about your the whole 2020. Is really stepping back, and this is a film that I don't think I have seen since it was at the theater, and it has stuck with me that strongly.
Right. Yeah.
So 20 years ago, and I still remember
something.
it being very visceral.
Next up is what?
The Three Colors Blue, the Krzysztof Kieslowski.
So that's about a woman who struggles to find a way to live her life after the death of her husband and child. I've yet to see this. I have this sitting at home. I know it's on a lot of people's favorite lists from '93, and
I haven't seen it either.
Interested to check this out. So, what is it about? What's it about this movie that jumps out at you, or makes it to your list?
I think I'm a big fan of Kieslowski in general, and when I think about European film, he's definitely one of the giants that pops out, and just his storytelling and how he approaches film. But this one in particular, in the colors series, I was trying to remember because I've seen so there's 3 colors in this series, and he shot them in France, and it's the colors of the French flag and blah blah blah.
And the American flag.
I believe it's the colors of the American flag, Dan.
No, it's the French flag.
It's red, white, and blue.
That's you're right.
That's American.
Right. Yeah. Well, America.
It's American flag.
The French stole it from us. I think those colors from us.
Bastards. Steal everything, like our fries.
Totally. Our freedom fries.
So is this? I haven't seen any of them. So my big question is, does this film stand alone, or...
Oh, totally.
It does, okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to see...
No, you don't have to see all of it. It's not like a trilogy,
Yeah.
even. it's very loosely put together. And
Is
he
it the same characters?
They're all different characters, but they all follow women, and they're all like very heart-wrenching domestic.
This one's Juliette Binoche, right?
Juliette Binoche, who does an amazing job. And again, it's like a playing into the things I like. It's a very quiet film, and you're with her, and the camera's pretty tight on her face most of the time as she's exploring these tragic things that are happening in her life, and just a super smart. When I think about this film, the word that pops in my head is adult. Like, this is a very, very adult film.
Not the way you like, Kris.
I was going to say,
Bam.
I'm really excited to. Yeah.
I can't believe it's getting
What do
this
you mean by that?
movie.
What do you mean by
Just
that?
there's a lot of tragedy, a lot of really complex relationships, and then it'll slow down. You'll have these nuances of like this little old lady bent over, walking every day to mail a letter, and she can't reach the post slot, and the camera like stays on. She's bent over. She's kind of like old.
Yeah.
But it's it sounds silly saying it out loud, but it's like there's beautiful human moments built
She's
into the
bent
film.
over in an adult movie. What? What? I don't understand what's weird about this.
You're twisting my words.
Are we?
You are. But you might like it in the aspect that it's, you say you love visual storytelling, and I think that this director very much lets faces tell a story.
Yeah. What's your third choice?
Third choice would be Dazed and Confused.
By Richard Linklater. Dazed and Confused is the adventures of an incoming high school and junior high students on the last day of school in May of 1976. Now, Lee here loves this movie more than life itself.
That's not true, but it's one of my favorite movies of 1993.
Yeah.
And I think you're too harsh on it.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw it?
About 6 months ago.
You didn't like it?
No.
I'm gonna talk to Dan about this.
Yeah.
Dan, why did you stay out of this? Dan,
I'll stay out. I'll just sit on the sidelines and grunt.
what is it about Dazed and Confused that you think is puts it in the category of best directors of '93?
Again, I feel like it's a fresh voice. I really feel like he was telling a story in a way that you hadn't seen a lot before. And I guess I really look at him as kind of like a heir to the whole Altman universe.
Right.
Like, I really feel like he took what
more than Paul Thomas Anderson, who everybody has deemed the heir.
Yeah, no, he's more. Paul Thomas Anderson is so stylized. I mean, this is really. I mean, it really felt like Altman was trying to capture the world in a realistic way, like both with his camera, his roving camera, and with sound design. When I think about Altman, I mainly think about sound design, how he's trying to capture the world as it really sounds, and some of the things that he did with that. But yeah, so looking at Dazed and Confused, I just really feel like, and maybe a lot of it was the technology, because I think a lot of those Altman films just sound muddy to me. Like, he was kind of on the cutting edge of what you could do with sound, and he was kind of mixing like on set to different mics as people were moving through the world. And I think that technology had changed a little bit when this had changed a lot when this movie came along, and he was able to capture realistic dialogue and follow different characters in a very organic way, which hadn't been done a whole lot to this point. So, and I, and also working with, talking about just the naturalistic, I guess that's the word, definitely what I think of when I think of this film, is just the naturalistic feel of it. Like, you feel like you are in this town with these kids.
And you know them.
At this time. Yeah, you feel like and they're great. And he did such a great job working with non-actors. So the majority of people in this film are non-actors.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, yeah. Amateur, and who's the other guy? The big
McConaughey.
Yeah, is in it too.
That's a good point.
Everybody's in. This is kind of like the American Graffiti of '93.
It was.
Where everybody just calls unknowns who are now headliners, A-listers.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's I just think it's a beautiful film, and I think it's very it's very it looks simplistic, but it's actually very complex.
Well, there's so many characters and
organized
storylines going on, but to keep it one theme must be hard as a director.
Yeah, absolutely. And just choreographing the camera and your actors and non-actors and moving through it in a real world way, I think it feels, just has a great feeling to it. I think it feels fresh and it feels alive. Kris, You're very quiet over there.
Yeah. I like Freaks and Geeks.
I like Freaks and Geeks too, but it doesn't mean I can't. You don't have to choose. It's not a Sophie's choice. I mean, you pick one.
No,
you can like them both. You can pick them both.
Yeah.
I love Freaks and Geeks, but I love Dazed and Confused as well.
Yeah, me too.
If you guys want to check it out and you haven't seen it, you can find it at Scarecrow Video.
Oh yeah.
What's that? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting
Any of
your
these
promo.
movies.
Sorry.
Here, let's just do another toss to this.
Okay, go ahead.
I think everybody should see
Where
Dazed
can I
and
find this
Confused.
movie?
You can find all of these movies at Scarecrow Video, which is one of the largest independent video stores in the country, located in Seattle's beautiful University District. One of the last remaining brick-and-mortar stores featuring DVDs, VHS, Laserdisc, and Blu-ray. If you can't find a movie at Scarecrow, it hasn't been filmed yet. For more info, visit scarecrowvideo.com. I do want to say, on a serious note, they're having trouble, and they're an amazing store, and
Oh, what's going on?
they're having financial problems. So, and you know, living in Seattle, I think we take it for granted that we have a place like this that you can go down any night of the week and pick up some obscure movie that like your buddy told you about, and it's like, oh, I'll go find it at Scarecrow. Most places don't have a place like this, so
Yeah.
just you know what, go down there, rent movies, give them your business, and they actually supply us with all the movies that we show at the Grand Illusion Theater, which is also located in the University District in a converted dentist's office. The Grand Illusion is Seattle's classiest, weirdest, and completely volunteer-operated cinema, screening the world's finest art house, foreign, and revival films. For more info, check out their schedule at grandillusion.org. grandillusioncinema.org, sorry. Next up, Dan, your fourth choice for Best Director is who?
In the Name of the Father,
And that is directed by...
John Sheridan. Or Jim Sheridan, sorry.
It's...
You know him as John, though.
Yes, we're pretty tight.
His close friends know him as John.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's about a man whose coerced confession to an IRA bombing commits him to prison, along with his father, and a British lawyer helps fight for their freedom. So, why this title?
So actually, I just rented it recently and watched it because I hadn't seen it
Yeah.
back in the day, and I like Jim Sheridan as a director, so I wanted to check it out. And it was really, I feel like it really holds up well. It's a very human story, you know, about the troubles, and it's of course acting. You know, it's Daniel Day-Lewis,
Yeah.
and I think the acting's really good, and he's reined in. I think a lot of directors kind of let him off the leash sometimes, and he gets over the top if you do that. And the supporting characters were great, but I feel like it. There's a beautiful like father-son relationship story that's in the middle of it that you don't see a lot in film, and I thought that they handled it very nicely. Like, it was very complicated. It wasn't this syrupy sweet relationship. It was a true human relationship that was with all its complications. And it's a tragic story. Yeah, you know, it's a very sad, tragic story about the RA guys they get accused of being RA bombers and locked up, and they're in for 15 years.
And it's based on a true story.
Yeah, it's based on a true story.
Yeah. There's a great scene in the middle of the film where they've got like I just remember there's like a scene with a sandwich, and they offer Daniel Day-Lewis a sandwich, and he doesn't want it, and he just kind of sloughs it off, and I don't know, he doesn't take anything very seriously, and everybody else sort of seems aware of the dire straits that they're in, but he's just kind of like blows the whole thing off, and I think it's kind of right before he starts to figure out how serious this is.
Right.
I love the scene of him walking down the street in like the fur coat.
Yeah.
Not a care in the world.
He's making
like,
the sheep noises. Yeah, as he's going down the street.
He's making sheep noises?
The kids are making, because it's like a fur coat, and they're like
yeah,
saying it looks like a sheep. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good father.
Yeah, so it's an interesting
stuff.
character arc with him. Yeah, he very much starts off as just a kid who doesn't really care, and then doesn't see the weight of what he's being faced with, and then even in prison, and once he gets locked up, he doesn't undertake like really fighting it, because he doesn't feel like he can fight the system, and his dad's fighting it, and then he doesn't really take on the system until his dad dies, and it's just kind of this tragic thing, and then he eventually gets out, and it's good. I mean, just looking back, it's the cinematography is great, and the whole thing is just super, super solid. And it's actually, it was kind of like right up there with my first choice. I was kind of going back and forth after watching it for the first choice, but we can talk about my first choice now, or the fifth on the list.
Oh, is that okay?
For
all right.
best directing.
Well, all right. Well, speaking of which, what is your fifth choice or your first choice?
So I ended up picking for best directing. It's no huge surprise, is Schindler's List. For the year. By
Steven Spielberg.
You've heard of him?
I've heard of him once or twice. I think he did one other movie I've heard of. Set in Poland during World War II, Oskar Schindler gradually becomes concerned for the Jewish workforce after witnessing their persecution by the Nazis. So, why Schindler's List?
Probably the same reasons that the critics liked it when it came out. I mean, I think that Kaminsky's camera work on it is brilliant. The acting is brilliant. I mean, it's a tragic story, and it's a story that everyone can get behind, of a guy trying to do the right thing and be honorable and save these people. And it's just an interesting way to look at the Holocaust, and try to put yourself in a place of what if that happened? What would you do as a person?
Yeah. What would you do?
I would get on a train and leave. I don't know. I don't know what I'd do. Hopefully I'd be like Schindler and stand up and do the right thing. But I had a hard time with this pick, though, because I have a hard time with Spielberg. I don't know how you guys feel about Spielberg. Just especially later, being older now and like really looking back at his films and just like really realizing how cynical he is as a filmmaker and how much he doesn't trust his audience to understand and get a film. Now he has to beat you over the head with it, and it's evidence in this film too with the Schindler gives the Schindler speech, I call it. So there's the speech towards the end where he gives a speech like, if I could have sold one more watch, I could have saved some more Jews. If I could have sold, I wish I could have sold. And it was just so out of place and so heavy-handed, and I think it really kept this from being a masterpiece. That scene kind of scuttled the whole.
I agree with you on that.
thing.
I think I really like this movie. I just watched it again a couple months ago, and I think it's an incredible film. But to me, it's like once it gets into that final moment, it kind of just like I wish they'd just cut it out. Like I don't think it needs it.
And that's a problem too when we become, as an artist, it happens with musical artists and directors when you reach a certain point where people don't say no, where people don't tell you it's a bad idea, like really push back on things.
Yeah.
Well, this was a total Oscar bait movie, and you had to have the Oscar scene for your actor.
Yeah.
Right? Or is that too cynical?
Not as cynical as Spielberg. I mean, but he does it regardless. Yeah.
Even Ron Howard does the same thing too.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah.
But I feel this year was interesting with the Oscars, with jumping ahead to this year with this past year with Lincoln. I think that the Oscar committee was just insulted by Lincoln. I think he had hit everybody over the head so hard with it, and it added the 10 minutes at the end that didn't need to be there, and was
I still haven't seen it, so
it's
I never
insulting.
saw it.
It's a great film. Like if he would have cut off the first 5 minutes and the last 10 minutes of the film, it would be a great film. And he just doesn't trust his audience to go there.
that seems to be like a
Reoccurring theme with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think Saving Private Ryan's a great movie, but like everybody I know who doesn't like it just points out to the first and the last 5 minutes of that movie.
It could have been the best opening shot of just close up on Tom Hanks' eyes. That would have been such a great opening shot, storming the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just blew the opportunity.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, I think with Schindler, I think it's an incredible movie, but I do think like the last 5-10 minutes or so, it's just like, I wish they just left it on the floor.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, jumping back to, that segues back to Polanski and just how he trusts his viewers to be smart. Mm-hmm. So the piano, like putting this, so this is my best film for the year for 93, but I would put it up against Piano, and Piano being a better.
Piano or pianist?
The Pianist, sorry.
Polanski's.
Yeah, the Pianist.
Really?
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As far as that genre of the World War II
just as a genre,
Germany
and
movie.
just trusting your viewer to get it.
Oh, I did not care for the pianist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
That's okay.
Here's the thing. No,
But there's no talking. You should have loved it.
There's no drama.
Oh, really?
It's
Really?
just
When he's going to get caught, there's no drama?
that scene.
There's no stakes?
That scene. That's it. Where like to me, the whole movie should have been about the German officer that's hiding him. That to me is a dramatic story because it's the same thing. It's like, oh, I'm hiding somebody that could get me executed. That's drama. Running for your life because people are trying to kill you. Yeah, there's drama there, but it's not like a choice you're making. That's just like that's a survival instinct. So
That's a fair criticism.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah,
So.
that's fair.
anyway, all right. You did have a couple other titles on your list that we didn't. We're not going to let you vote for. But what what was on there?
Just an honorable mention from that year were True Romance, Tony Scott, and Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Groundhog Day is
Harold
universal.
Ramis.
Harold
Yeah.
Ramis, yeah. Great stuff. Good choices.
Yeah, it was. I mean, do you want to talk about the films that came out that year? Because I was just.
Yeah.
Is that appropriate here?
I think it's
Are we talking about something else?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So just looking back over the films, when I picked these films out, I was just kind of amazed of how many great films came out that year in 1993. And we're just kind of all over the map, from genre films to comedy to romance, just everywhere. And I wrote a couple of them down. One was Alive, the Chilean air crash film, Groundhog Day, Army of Darkness, Sleepless in Seattle, Rookie of the Year, Free Willy, Hocus Pocus, So I Married an Axe Murderer, The Fugitive, The Wedding Banquet.
I love The Wedding
Lee's
Banquet.
breakout film. True Romance, Nightmare Before Christmas, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I didn't see Mrs. Doubtfire.
You didn't?
No, I refused.
We talked about Philadelphia. Boy, talk about a movie that doesn't stand up.
Oh, yeah. When was the last time you saw that?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It looked like a kind of a calculated ruse to pull emotions out of people. And
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
I did.
Yeah. If you took the last 10 minutes of Schindler's and made that a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
You'd have Philadelphia.
Yeah, but it's a strong year overall. I think.
Falling Down was the other kind of
Oh,
interesting
yeah,
one.
Falling
See
Down.
that
Yeah,
again.
that was interesting. Yeah, it
yeah.
was just
Yeah,
seemed
I
like
wonder
it
if that
was,
would stand up. I feel like it might stand up even more now.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it's a strong year. I think it's to me it's like kind of the last really tough year after that. Oh, the other one that's not on your list that I love is Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
like that film
yeah.
a lot.
I feel like 94 is going to be a hard one.
I know.
There's a lot of good movies that came out in 94.
I know, but this is like when we're getting into your wheelhouse.
Movies that I like that are good.
Movies that you like.
So we haven't got to the end of the year yet, but then I wrote down a couple of the big films of this year so far.
Mm-hmm.
And the top 10 were Iron Man 3, Fast and Furious 6, Monster University, Man of Steel, World War Z, The Croods, Oz, The Great and Powerful, Star Trek, Into Darkness, and Pacific Rim. So the only 3 on that list that weren't reboots or remakes are The Croods, World War Z, which is a zombie film, and Pacific Rim, which is a fanboy film. And it's just, wow. Yeah, it's
cool.
cool.
I saw the trailer for the new Godzilla movie the other day.
I can't believe they're making another one.
Well, I'll say this. There's something about it that I've never seen in one of these destruction monster movies, which was bodies scattered on the ground. I was like, oh, they're actually casualties in this one. No.
So it's not going to be like the A-Team. Like, people are actually going to die.
That's a decent cast.
Maybe. We'll see. But I was kind of like, oh, that looks good. They're finally showing that this isn't just like an empty metropolis.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be good.
I don't know. We're heading into dangerous ground and in the present. It's just a lot of sequels and reboots and.
When did that all start? But there's always been
Jaws
like
2.
the rare, but not as bad.
more
Like, there's always the rare sequel to something.
Godfather 2.
No, it doesn't count. Godfather 3 counts. Godfather 2 doesn't count.
Yeah.
But even Godfather 3 was before.
Yeah, it was.
Before the whole phenomenon.
The last 5 years. It's
Before the wheels came off.
Yeah, it's
all
just
been
bad.
sequels and reboots.
Yeah, there's been some really good articles in New York Times on just, they're talking about Lone Ranger and like a lot of the huge tentpoles like falling down this year, and a cause is just everything being by committee, and having the name recognition and having it be a reboot or a sequel because they can't take any chances with it.
Right.
Not getting that opening weekend.
Yeah.
But which is weird because they all cost like over $100 million for these movies, and
Yeah,
it
we're
seems
getting
like
up to
more
$200
of a
million now.
gamble than making a $20 million movie.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it.
What do you need more than $1 million for to make a movie?
Yeah, you do.
So we're really kind of
I don't think so.
branch out. Well, I just watched Gravity last night, so really seeing kind of the film. I feel like the films that are going to get people in theaters. I keep getting people in theaters because
This
the word
movie,
of mouth
this is
on
number
this
3,
film,
number 1.
then the word of mouth is
3
that you
weeks in a
have
row.
to see it in a theater. Mm-hmm. So I think you're going to have these type of films that are these visual spectacles that you
But
need
that
to
was
see in
also
the
a
theater.
good movie. I mean,
Yeah.
But that wasn't supposed to be it's not billed as an action movie or anything. And I
Right,
wouldn't
it's just
really
a good,
consider
solid,
just a
beautiful,
good, solid
visual movie that people want to go see. So I feel like you're going to have that on one end, and then the other end is going to be the micro budget, like very niche film. So I think it's really pushing towards that. So you're getting the films that you want to see. or your little subgroup or something that you're
I
interested
think you're going to
in.
get a lot with video on demand. A lot of indies
I
go
was
to
gonna
video
say, I
on
think
demand
that's-
first to make
yeah,
their
I
money
think that's
back.
where that's
And
gonna
I
go.
think that's where more people are watching movies at home. More
Yeah,
people are going to
definitely.
see
Yeah,
your
that
movie.
platform's doing
You're going to
well
be
right
able
now.
to see a movie that critics talk about that if you don't live in New York or LA, you can actually see
Right.
when they're talking
Yeah.
about it.
I think that's true.
Yeah, it's
I think that's
interesting
where
time.
that's all going to go. Because I don't think those movies are really going to make it to the theater anymore.
No, I don't think there's any reason to.
Yeah, I feel like movies now are an ad for the DVD. Thanks for joining us, Dan. Good list.
Yeah, it's interesting. 93 was an interesting year for film,
Yeah,
for sure.
no, it's a good year. Once again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Scarecrow Video and Grand Illusion. If you're looking for any movie, go check those guys out. They will hook you up. If you're a movie lover and would like to support us, you can subscribe to the 2020 Film Club. Your annual subscription gets you into 10 of our monthly for your consideration screenings here in Seattle, plus a ticket to our annual ceremony in February. It's over $100 value for only $40. To enroll, just visit us at 2020awards.org and look for the subscriber link. And until next time, remember, it's never too late to start thinking about the past.